Do we know what we're doing? Because I sure as hell don't know what we're doing.
Hey, I've got a quest for ya. Like and subscribe to Theta Initiative for new adventures. Or you could collect mushrooms, but nobody likes that quest.
Okay, that boy's dead. So, this is always something that I feel like I should make a YouTube video about because of how buck wild it is, but I should tell you guys about the pound chat on neopets.com. Because that's where I spent a lot of my days. Let me tell you, there was no other place on the website that was worth it that was outside of the pound chat. You know, the people who created Neopets, the website, the way it was originally conceived was like, you know, Neopets are these sacred creatures that you're supposed to always have with you, and only a heartless, twisted villain would ever get rid of their Neopets. So in the game, there was a pound where you could get rid of your Neopets. You could abandon it, and they guilt-tripped you really hard for even thinking about abandoning your Neopet. So yeah, that was how Neopets was originally supposed to be. And then, eventually, the website was sold to other people. And those people decided, you know what? We're gonna have an entire Neopets trading system. Oh god, no, Ketsu! Get his ass! Eventually, the pound went from being like, the pound on neopets.com, it went from being this hellhole where only heartless people abandon their precious Neopets to basically being one of the most central features of the website. There were people whose entire career on Neopets was just trading and working their way up the ladder, you know, trying to grind to their dream Neopet that they needed. So it was less taboo to abandon your Neopet because we were all trading them left and right. They were implementing features to better support the trade system that randomly developed on neopets.com. Which, I mean, if you're gonna have a website where you can collect creatures and some of them are rarer than the other ones, I mean, it's only natural that people start to want to, like, make an entire, like, economy system out of it, you know? Have, like, some amount of, like, value. But yeah, eventually, there was a dedicated forum to the Neopets Pound, and it was just made up of people who were, like, trading a lot of Neopets. We called it the Pound Chat. PC for short. And let me tell you, the culture was really strange. Like, everyone had their head stuck up their ass, but I think it's because everyone there besides me was like some, like... Usually, the people that I was talking to were like these older ladies who were like married and stuff, and they had kids. They had families. And they sold their souls to Neopets. These were people who spent like hundreds of dollars on like custom, like wearable items for their Neopets, like outfits, cute dresses. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them. Katsu, I see you creeping over here. I don't appreciate that. Anyway, getting back to the Neopet story. I mean, it's not really a story. It's more like I'm just talking about the subculture that existed. But, so there was this entire social group, I guess. Like, this social corner of the website that was just dedicated to people who were trading their Neopets around. And like I said, there were some really valuable, rare, exclusive, desired Neopets that were really hard to come by. So people were either trading to eventually build up to being able to trade for one of those pets, or they were trying to find those pets up for adoption. And okay, so it's like, so here's how it was. People would like, they would say stuff like, I'm gonna quit Neopets because I want to focus more on my life, and this is just a game, I want to stop focusing so much on this game, so I'm gonna quit Neopets. And when they quit Neopets, they would put their pets up for adoption. And when a pet was up for adoption, a lot of people wanted that pet. Because they see like, oh, this user is quitting, and they have this exclusive Neopet that you can't make anymore, or this one that's really expensive and rare. So people wanted that, you know? So, basically, you know how you have to apply and audition for shit like, you know, Hololive and Nijisanji? Imagine that, but it's Neopets. Get your ass handed to you! The way it worked on Neopets was that if you wanted to adopt a Neopet, you had to make an entire webpage flexing all of your skills and explaining why you were better than everyone else on neopets.com and best suited for this pet than everyone else. So, I did this, you know, in the past, where if a really, really nice Neopet was up for adoption and someone was giving them away, they'd have this entire, like, application process where they took in applications from other users across the website, and they would just pick their favorite. And you need to understand that people were doing crazy shit for these Neopets. Like, it wasn't just, oh, I like doing art. Oh my god, let me heal. People were making, like, full-fledged, like, manga and shit. No, I don't want to do this. I was trying to figure out how to, like, switch on the menu. Ah, I'm stupid. I remember for this one pet that went up for adoption, the person who was, like, quitting the website and putting them up for adoption was like, oh, I really like, well-written characters. I am in the publishing industry. So if you write something that's any good, I will probably enjoy it. So because I really wanted to adopt this Neopet, I conceptualized an entire novel centered around them, and I wrote the first 3 chapters as a preview. And be like, if you gave me this pet, I would actually write this book. Apparently my writing is garbage because I didn't even make it into the top 10. I found out something by playing a lot of Neopets. I would write a lot of really elaborate stories, but in the end, people just care about art. People only care about artists. Which is part of why I started learning how to draw, because I realized, man, I could write a really interesting, elaborate story, but no one's gonna actually care about it because people just care about visuals. Humans are a very visual species, I guess. If there's no pretty pictures, they aren't gonna care. So it's like, I could write an entire novel, but the one guy who can draw a sketch that looks kind of good
job, my friend.
will always beat me, you know? So it's like that one Neopet where I drew, like, the entire novel, or when I wrote the entire novel.
How about this leather?
The person who ultimately got the pet, like, wrote the most generic... I don't want to say what the character trope was, because I feel like there's gonna be at least 100 VTubers out there that are this trope, and I don't want to insult anyone if that is potentially their lore. So I'm just not gonna say what it was. I'm just gonna say that it wasn't the most creative thing. I was like, this person who was giving the Neopet away, they talked about how they were in the publishing industry and they like really good stories. Why did they give it to this person? And I realized, oh, it's because that person who wrote the really generic character was an artist. So that was the day I was like, okay, I really have to start like learning how to draw because no one cares about what you write. That's why I always tell people my lore series, everyone's like, oh, you're gonna write that as like a book. I'm like, no, it's gonna be illustrated because I know that no one's gonna care if it's just words, you know? I know there's gonna be 1 or 2 people in the chat that are gonna be like, I'll care, even if it had no pictures. But the vast majority of people online, if it doesn't have pretty visuals, if there's no hot anime girls, if there's no big titties, they don't care. Doesn't matter how good your story is.